So if you guys are into ratty muscle builds, this episode's for you. We're going to check out Kelvin's latest 65 Buick Skylark. Hey guys, welcome back. So we're in Kelvin's garage. Hey Kelvin, thanks for having me over. You got a Buick in your garage.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, it comes down to 60s GM A-body. That is kind of my shtick, you know?
Yeah, I like this car. It's pretty solid. You got glass in this car. It's got a nice windshield.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't take that out for obvious reasons.
Yeah, do
not remove this tag. I'm a little scared of it. Yeah,
don't remove that. That's bad juju. Yeah, but you got glass. It's got a lot of its trim. You got dash. You got all kinds of pieces and parts, and but it's a solid car. I like this. I like these body styles.
Well, and it was kind of saved from the crusher, kind of. It had been somebody's parts car.
Yeah.
And Ken Messett saved it, and it sat out there now for a number of years. And I've always liked these cars, especially the taillights with the full width light up taillights.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's do a walk around here.
I always thought they were so cool. So it needs a little bit of work. I've got the parts and pieces, and I've tracked down the majority of the stuff I need. So anybody out there in YouTube land that has a rear bumper that's decent for one of these with brackets.
Yeah,
I haven't found that yet.
You have a front bumper and grille and all those details, but you're missing a back.
Yeah.
And you even have the little trim items and stuff.
I have the center trim piece, yeah, and I've collected up the majority of the bits and parts that, the trim is pitted and beat, and I've even got the rear quarter spears and stuff that'll need some work. They're stainless; they can be kind of repaired.
Yeah.
So I'm putting Darren on notice. I'm going to darken his door
and get him polishing.
Yeah, see if I can get him to straighten him and polish him. Now he's going to change his phone number because he'll watch the video and it's like, no! So.
Yeah, those are long. Those are like 8 feet long. That's what he's referring to here is the trim on the back of the car here.
Yeah, that should go all the way from the door right to the corner.
And that's a long piece.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough to find a set. Like I say, they're not pretty, but they're there.
Yeah.
And they're stainless, and they're not broken.
Yeah.
So, straightening, polishing. For this car, how good do they have to be?
Yeah, this is just going to be a roadkill style. Get it going, make it run, make it drive, and it's not going to get any special paint treatment like the Beaumont build.
No.
Or the Chevelle build. It's not going to be on that kind of a level. Yeah. This is not going to be entered in Dragon's Car Show next spring.
No, sir, it's not. In fact, I doubt that it'll ever get anywhere near that. So it's got the usual, this is where you start. And honestly, there's a lot more car here than there was with the Beaumont when I started it. But that was a labor of love. Let's face it, that was for Rochelle.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a very, very unique car. Something that, I really dug it. I've always loved the style. But this whole project started with an intake manifold.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on that when we were running the fire breather there the other day. And so once I had this dual quad intake and a couple of carburetors, I had to find an engine. Well, once you got an engine, then you got to have a car to put it in, right? So I thought, what better than an A-body Buick? Because I've got pieces and parts, and it's going to be mix and match, and it's not critical that it all be, because it's not going to be restored. It's just for fun. I want it safe, sound,
mechanically sound and safe, and just drive it. It's not going to. It's going to be a ratty muscle build.
Yeah. Also, there were a few things done in the past that kind of give me a head start. When this car showed up at Ken's, it had
a big block. Well, it had a.
It had 45 swapped into it.
Yeah.
So the mount brackets, the frame stools, have already been installed. Now, how that'll make it sit, remains to be seen. But it also had a Turbo 400 in it, so that means the cross member has likely already been moved back. So I'm putting a big block and a Turbo 400 in the car. As you can see, no brake booster or master cylinder, but somebody has already put on a combination valve and dual circuit brakes.
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
Kind of a good step in the right direction. So those were two things that were a real bonus when it came to
Yeah. Somebody did kind of the hard stuff here and sourced out some of the right things and got the right brakes. And
yeah, also you look at the windshield, it's got a couple of chips, but it's not cracked. It's separating a bit at the bottom, a bit milky, but it's a safe piece of glass. I don't have to worry about putting a windshield in it. Kind of keeps it in the reasonable range, you know. Apparently, from what I've been told, these are Corvair bucket seats by the upholstery pattern. And they fit fine, whatever. I mean, they are what they are. I don't care. But the console is kind of a neat piece that I've only ever seen one of those before. They're kind of spacey.
yeah, it's got kind of a Jetson flavor there.
Yeah,
it's neat. I've never seen one of those.
They call it the ironing board console. And
wow.
There were two different styles of center console, of short center consoles. There was a floor shift center console, but this was a short console, and on the firewall tag, if I'm not mistaken, this was called a D56 console. It said, and in the more recent D56 RPOs, that refers to short center console removable is what it said. But so this has a compartment that opens up, you know, for storage, and you know, it's more or less just an armrest, you know.
Yeah.
So unique. I'd only ever seen one before in my life, and it was in a 64.5 Skylark.
So that is on the trim tag, and this was a V8 car, 300?
300, yeah, with the
2-speed
M33 transmission, A50, which prior to the Astro buckets, I believe, was the RPO for bucket seats, and D56. Prior to, like, not a floor shift console, being that it's just a center compartment. I think that's why they called it D56. So.
Removable deal.
Kind of neat. I mean, you know, probably if I was going to go further with the car, I would probably get the documentation on it. It is a GM of Canada car. So, but I don't know. That's not something that's tremendously important to me with this one. I'm going to have a lot of pushback on this because a lot of people have seen what I've done with the Beaumont, and I'm not interested in doing that.
Yeah.
Not with this.
No, this is for fun.
This apparently was the original color.
Kind of a burgundy.
Yeah, the paint code was M. And I think the interior, what did I say, 157 or something? Which I believe translates to a red bucket center console interior.
Yeah, you can tell it was red at one time.
Yeah, the dash still has some red. So I was also very fortunate to find a rear seat. A-body rear seats aren't that easy to come by.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I don't know if this is a full width seat or like I dealt with the Beaumont, where I had to use a Skylark custom rear seat that's the narrower.
Yeah.
Right? But at any rate, I guess we'll see. I do have the armrest build-outs and the fillers. They're in rough shape.
Yeah.
So it's going to take some creativity if I do need to use them. But
you got them.
There.
You got them.
The form, the shape is there, and you know.
You got a lot of the pieces. I saw the grill in the back seat. Headlight buckets, and I'm gonna smack my head here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just missing a back bumper. A lot of trim pieces are there. Glass is all there. That's kind of a good start.
Well, yeah.
And like, you're not going full bore on this one.
And for what I'm going to have into the car, all said and done, and I'm doing it for fun. It's not a cash cow by any stretch, but if I can save another one, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, really, why not?
And that's what it's about. It's you know what? This is a good example of why you can get in the hobby when you don't need a long dollar to do it.
No.
You can do it with a car like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be, well, it's going to have a 430 big block dual quad.
A used running 430 with dual quads, and if it doesn't fit under the hood, well, we're going to have to improvise. Who knows? Maybe a couple velocity stacks, or
yeah.
maybe I'll go with make my own version of the Star Wars air cleaner as a shaker or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not important at this point. So, we'll get to that when it's a running car.
And the Chevelle's coming along. I see it on the hoist there.
It's made a little bit of progress, not a great deal, but the transmission is finally done, and I hope to pick it up at some point this week and get it back in there. The exhaust is on order. I'm kind of hoping to be able to put that together. Who knows, maybe even fire it before Christmas.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's coming along. My seats and stuff are done. The upholstery is all up top and done. Kind of some personal twists that I did on that. But,
yeah. Oh, so that is all done.
Oh yeah, no, the seats are done. I have the rear quarter interior trim panels. I don't have the door panels yet, but the doors are stacked up right there.
Oh,
they're
okay.
already, the edges are painted and everything on them. They're ready for fitting and alignment, and I've got the fenders, inner fenders, all of that stuff. So we'll get to that. And
so let's touch on what this car is again.
Okay, so over the since we did the original video on this, which would have been, what, 2.5 years ago or so? Yeah. There have been a few things that have kind of bothered me, and just recently it came to light, and kind of, I would like to set some stuff straight. You'll hear people talking about what they have. Everybody wants to have a special car. Everybody, will take hearsay.
Yeah.
And secondhand information and run with it. And I can admit, I mean, that's what I was going on as well. But without paper documentation, there's not really a whole lot that you can, we build these cars for our own reasons.
Yeah.
Okay? This car is one of, I believe it's 837, okay? 3.25 horse, 396, 4-speed, bucket console, factory tack, green with a gold interior. They weren't all green. They didn't all have gold interiors. They weren't all 4 speeds. They weren't all 3.25 horse. They weren't, so.
But you do have documentation on all that.
On all of that, absolutely, thanks to Vintage Vehicle Services. But that is really the extent, other than word of mouth and history that I've been told. And I'm still looking for a lot of history on this car. So suffice it to say, at this point, my reason for building this car is because it's my dream car. I love these cars.
Yeah.
It deserves the effort and the respect. And I'm not building it to profit. It's for me. It's my personal car, and it will get driven.
It's not for sale.
No. So really, that's enough reason for me to put in the effort. Plain and simple, it being what it is fine. And if it comes to light and I get more history on it in the future, I've been trying forever to find information on the original owner or any subsequent owners or whatever. I mean, I got the car 28 years ago. And, prior to that, I mean, it was apparently it had sat since about 1976.
I think in that original video we called it a 101, and in my opinion, I still believe it is. Based on the color combinations, the fact that this had to get pulled off and run down a Buick line to actually get painted.
That's another kind of point of contention, because there are others that are this color.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, it was a Canadian-only color, which is really unique to the U.S. viewers and stuff, for sure. Just as there were a couple other unique Canadian colors, right? So really, I mean, it's a unique car. I did since find a guy in Vancouver that I've discussed, I think Vancouver, that has a green with a gold interior, but I believe his is an automatic car. So, and that was another part of it, that it was, I really didn't expect to see anymore.
Yeah.
But the more that comes to light, the more I realize I got to brush up on finding the history and getting some kind of documentation, because beyond that, it's good enough for me as one of 837. It's good enough for me because I care about it. I'm building it for me. and I want to enjoy it.
Yeah,
So-
well, and a lot of those special things you didn't realize when you bought it. I mean, those were things that you found out later.
All that I knew when I bought it, the guy had thought it was a Malibu Sport Coupe, and it turned out that it was a 138, a big block car and
Yeah.
a 4-speed car. So it was exactly what I was after, and I was very, very fortunate. Also, I'd like to say that, you know, in terms of the kind of information and documentation and the like that we can get readily available to us, we are very, very fortunate.
Yeah, here
To
in
have-
Canada, we were lucky.
Yeah, to have vintage vehicle services that can document the Canadian-built GM cars. It's just a real godsend for those of us that are passionate about the cars. There are for the Mopars and the Fords down in the States and what have you, with the Marty reports and the Galen Govier and what have you. I mean, they have more detailed and precise information on them. But really, we have no reason to complain about the kind of information that we can get on them, and just be glad that we can verify these cars in that way.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
the only reason you're really bringing this up, you do have documentation. You just want to, for your own personal reasons. No one actually asked. No one.
It was more just a matter of that, because of a couple of situations that I've seen over the last year and a half, 2 years since we did that video, and just recently again it came up, and I would just like to set it straight. I don't intend to misrepresent the car in order to increase its value.
Yeah.
I'm only doing it for one reason, and that's because I care about it. I love the car, and I'm
Yeah.
restoring it. You know, it's for me to enjoy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was something that was important to me. I guess, you know, it's just something I felt should be touched on. So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. No,
Yeah.
you're just being honest with what you got here.
Yeah.
I personally think it's I know it's rare.
It'll be
I
a
know
super
it,
cool car.
you're not doing it because it is this or it is that. It's
No.
your dream car, and
It's a 67 SS 396 4-speed factory Canadian car.
yeah,
And that is all it needs to be. Everybody has their own reasons for the amount of effort and elbow grease and money that we put into these things. And, you know, I don't need any other reason than that.
yeah,
This is what I want it to be, and I'm going to put in as much effort as it takes to make it right for me,
yeah.
the way that I want it, and I can enjoy it.
And it's sure coming along nicely here. It's a very beautiful. It's a nice. What's the name of that color again?
Verdi green.
Verdi green.
Verdi
and
green,
a gold
yeah.
interior, very unique.
Yep.
325 horse, 396, 4-speed,
Yep.
all the right stuff.
Yeah, it'll be a fun car. I've taken a few liberties, as I've said. It had a 331 12-bolt, but it didn't have a posi from factory. So I put a posi diff in it, carrier. Actually, I had Kelly Solheim do that for me. But it is a 331 gear, as it should be. Okay.
And disc brakes, you went to a manual disc
I
up
put
front.
manual discs in the front, yeah, and drums in the rear, just for a matter of safety. That's something that I just felt inclined to do. Also, as I'd mentioned with the interior, I had fabric inserts put into the buckets and the rear seat, like a Malibu rear seat would be, with the
I can't wait.
factory-type fabric.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very comfortable. I don't like the idea of the vinyl sticking to my back. you
Yeah,
know.
well, that's going to be neat.
This is the fabric I got from SMS.
So that's the inserts right there.
This is what I did for the inserts, and I had
Oh, nice.
yeah, that's the factory style. What did they call it? Roncina, I think.
Ah.
Roncina fabric in gold that I got from SMS, and I had Buck's Place in Salmon Arm, BC. Do the seat skin modifications to put the fabric inserts into both the buckets and the rear seat.
Cool.
If you got buckets, it would have been vinyl.
Yeah.
So just a couple things there. I think there are a few other things that I took some liberties with on the car, but anyways, I just It's because it's for me to
Yeah.
enjoy. I guess if I was going to build it to sell it, I would have gone with what everybody else said. Paint it blue with a black interior.
Yeah, yeah.
So
For
but-
resale reasons.
Yeah, but no, I'm fine with it as it is, and it'll be a lot of fun. So
Then we look.
we'll do an update later on when I get the big block Buick resealed.
Yeah,
I'm going to do head gaskets and reseal everything. I have changed the pan over to a rear sump because it was a Riviera engine, so it was center sump. So I'm going to reseal the engine, paint it up red like it should be, correct
Yeah.
for the year. Then we're
it's
gonna see
making its
how
way
it
in here.
fits.
Yeah, with the Turbo 400.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see this thing come along here. This is going to be cool.
Yeah.
And don't remove that tag.
No, can't have that.
Well, thanks, Kelvin. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks for having me over again.
Absolutely.
We'll make this a series. We'll keep everybody updated on what happens with the little 65 Skylark. Thanks for watching, guys.